Accelerator live session. These are just some housekeeping reminders for all of us to have a productive call. Feel free to use the Q&A button, probably at the bottom of your screen, for any questions, any comments, any ideas you may have. This session will be recorded, and we will be sharing the recording with all of you later. And yeah, please let us know if you have any questions, any comments about the program or anything that we may present during this session. This will be a 1 hour long session. So yeah, feel free to ask us any questions or submit any comments you may have. All right. Let's just move to the next one. So again, welcome to this live session about the Climate Ambition Accelerator. It's very important to set the context and the agenda for what we'll be discussing here today. We'll first talk about climate ambition in general at the UN Global Compact. Then we will talk about the program specifically, and later on about the UN Global Compact Academy, our learning platform in which the Climate Ambition Accelerator is hosted, and that can be a very useful tool for you guys in this journey of learning and advancing towards sustainability and corporate good practice as well. Well, regarding climate change, it's very important to understand the state of climate emergency that we are right now. So climate change is something that is already happening. We can see in our day-to-day lives the effects and the impacts of climate change. And it is not something that we can postpone or hit pause in our climate action. We need to act, and we need to act fast and urgently. So right now, the world is on track to a global warming far greater than the 1.5 degrees that is our challenge. So right now, our planet has already warmed by around 1.2 degrees. In 2020, some data shows that climate shocks forced 30 million people to flee their homes. So smaller nations, countries that are more vulnerable to climate effects, they are the hardest hit in this list. There is a growing number of countries that have committed to significant emission reductions. This is a very good sign, a very good signal to markets as well. But we need more leaders and more organizations and more climate action in order to limit global warming. Right now, global emissions are set to increase, for example, 14% over the current decade. So we need far more corporate action, national action, and well, action from all the different sectors as well. So we need no coal plants, we need no expansion in oil and gas exploration, and we need very strong investments in renewable energy and renewable infrastructure as well. So we really need to significantly increase our adaptation in terms of finance and sustainable finance in order to build this resilience towards a net zero future, towards a climate safe future for all of us. On the right hand side, we see a very strong message from our generals, from our Secretary General Antonio Guterres, where we see that we must go into this emergency mode against climate change, and it is a battle to keep 1.5-degree goal alive, and we need to win this fight over this decade. So we really are on the time for acting towards climate change. All right. We have different examples of climate action at the UN Global Compact right now. So the main action that we have in terms of climate mitigation, so targets to reduce emissions, we have the ScienceBased Targets initiative. So more than 1,000 companies have already approved targets. More than 2,400 companies have joined the initiative already. And recently, the initiative has launched the net zero standard. So we are really on track now to set ambitious targets to meet these requirements and these standards of net zero emissions as well. We also have the business ambition for 1.5. This is a campaign that encourages companies and pushes companies to set science-based targets at the highest level and to have a 1.5 aligned net zero future as well. So more than 1,000 companies are part of this campaign right now, and these numbers are growing by the weeks as well. As I mentioned, the Academy, this is the UN Global Compact learning platform. So this is available for everyone, for everyone that is part of the UN Global Compact right now. We offer a range of different e-learning courses, and we explore these linkages between the different programs and different topics in which we are working on. We also have the idea of the ambition loops, in which we have corporate action pushing government interaction and government agenda towards climate change, and then government agenda towards climate change pushing and promoting corporate action as well. So it's a positive loop where the government and business we act together in terms of actually reducing emissions and pursuing a climate, a net zero future and limiting global warming as well. We have the taking the temperature report and some follow-up publications that were launched last year, in which we assess the current level of ambition from different countries. And we actually see, we can actually see that we are still missing very crucial action from the corporate side as well, and we need more actors, more stakeholders taking action. In this context, we have the Climate Ambition Accelerator, that we aim to mainstream science-based targets and promote science-based targets through our local networks, and enable companies so they can set these emissions reduction targets as well. Our action platform for climate ambition has been promoting and being a collaborative space for this climate discussion and sharing best practices in terms of climate mitigation and resilience. We also have the Water Resilience Coalition. It is impossible to disaggregate and to separate the discussions about water resilience, water stewardship, and climate change. So we really try to bring these two agendas together. And at the climate caring for climate summit that we have at COP, we really bring together business, UN, the United Nations, different agendas and agencies and governments to discuss the solutions to tackle this climate emergency that we are facing right now. And of course we can engage the race to zero and the race to resilience, these two overarching initiatives, as well, through our work with companies as well. So this is just a general overview of our climate portfolio, but we really would like to focus on the science-based targets and the business ambition for 1.5. The science-based targets is an initiative that is a partnership between CDP, former Carbon Disclosure Project, the UN Global Compact, the World Resources Institute, and the WWF. So these four organizations are working together to provide companies with a clearly defined path to reduce emissions in line with the Paris Agreement goals. And between 2015 and 2019, companies with science-based targets have reduced their combined emissions by 1/4, so 25% of emissions reductions in this period. And they are delivering large-scale emissions reductions. So we are able to see meaningful commitments and meaningful impacts in terms of climate change, in terms of emissions reductions as well from these companies. Right now, as of today, we have more than 2,400 companies engaged with the initiative. This represents around 20% of our global market capitalization and 1/5 of the global Fortune 500, the list of the 500 largest organizations in the whole world. As I mentioned before, the Science-Based Targets Initiative has recently launched the framework on net zero target setting. This is the first net zero standard in the whole world. So it's very important. It's a very important milestone for all of us, and it will really unlock a great potential for all of us to pursue this 1.5 aligned future and to reduce our emissions and reach net zero before 2050. As I mentioned, the framework, the net zero corporate standard, it is a framework to define this pathway towards net zero emissions, and this is very well based in scientifically sound verifiable targets. So we really work on this based on the science behind the Paris Agreement and the most recent available climate science as well, in order to build a very trusted and and a verifiable standard for net zero emissions as well. In a very brief summary, I really invite you guys to have a look at the SBTI corporate net zero standard and understand the full idea and the full content of the standard. But in a very brief summary, science-based targets corporate net zero targets. They would require a near-term target and rapid action to reduce emissions between 5 to 10 years, always in line with the 1.5-degree scenario. Also, some long-term deep decarbonization of around 90 to 95% emissions reductions across all scopes 1, 2, and 3 before 2050. A limited dependence on carbon removal to neutralize emissions that cannot yet be eliminated. So the standard brings a lot of more insights and clarity to what the initiative accepts in terms of carbon removals, and of course the external verification of corporate net zero targets and the reporting of the annual progress of the progress against these targets. Companies are already able to commit to this new standard, to this new level of ambition since October last year. So again, we would like to invite you guys to have a look, and if your companies are ready to commit to this new and highest level of ambition in terms of climate action as well. And finally, the business ambition for 1.5. This is a campaign that are calling to action companies to set ambitious science-based targets in line with the 1.5-degree scenario. This means limiting global warming or limiting the global temperature rise to 1.5 degree above pre-industrial levels and reaching net zero emissions by no later than 2050. So this is the highest level of ambition that the science-based targets says and has in all their standards and criteria. So by setting a net zero target in line with this 1.5 future, business can actually translate the ask to countries to upgrade their nationally determined contributions, their NDCs, into their business model as well. So we can kind of make this analogy that the science-based targets are the business NDCs. So when we talk about the Paris Agreement, we are talking about the action at the country, the national level, but we do understand that we also have our role to play in this scenario of reducing emissions as well. And as a brief spoiler here of the next slide, this accelerator, the Climate Ambition Accelerator, aims at scaling the uptake of business for this business ambition for 1.5 by encouraging and enabling companies to set their science-based targets at the highest level of ambition. So that's the general idea of the Climate Ambition Accelerator that I will present to you guys right now. So the whole world is moving, or at least should be moving, towards net zero. It's very important to understand if our company is ready to make this transition. As the name says, the transition is always something that requires adaptation, that requires new ways of doing business, that requires new understandings and new knowledge. And this 6-month learning program, this accelerator, really aims to equip more companies with the knowledge and skills that they need to set science-based targets, We really want to scale up credible climate action across companies from different sizes, different sectors, and different regions through our local networks. And this will be done by sharing global practices, by having some peer-to-peer learning opportunities, and also with capacity building sessions and on-demand training as well. A little bit more details about the accelerator. These will be delivered through our Global Compact local networks. So feel free to reach out to your local network to understand if they will be running the program this year, if they have not yet contacted you. So global local networks around the world will be implementing this program, and participating companies will gain knowledge and will gain access to global best practices, to these peer-to-peer learning opportunities, as I mentioned, to different capacity building sessions, experts on the greenhouse gas emissions topics as well, and also the on-demand training, the high quality on-demand training that we are developing as well. As I mentioned, we really aim to scale up credible climate action. So we really want to work with what companies are already doing and raise the level of ambition instead of starting it over and starting from scratch. And our main goal is to have these meaningful commitments to reduce emissions at scale. Some of the outcomes from the program, of course, gain a clear understanding about the science-based targets and the net zero concept, learn how to motivate different stakeholders, such as investors, corporate leadership, employees, and shareholders, to set and meet science-based targets. Of course, hear from different peers, and also share insights at our group sessions as well. Take advantage of our on-demand learning sessions that will enable you to work at your own pace. So there will be some sessions available online that you can take at your own time, as many times as you want. And also get access from industry expert networking opportunities, and also benefiting from local delivery combined with the global insight. So this will not be a totally local program nor a global program. So this will be a mix and a combination between these global best practices and also the local and regionalized discussions at our country level as well. Okay. This is the general structure of the program. So we will always start with the general discussion. Oh, sorry. We will always start with the general discussion at my individual level. So what my company, what myself as an employee of my company, what we can do in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, in terms of reducing emissions and limiting global warming. Then we will move towards group sessions where we will have some peer-to-peer learning sessions, and also facilitated sessions hosted and facilitated by technical experts. And finally, some global sessions. Throughout the year, the UN Global Compact has some flagship events where we bring some thought leadership speakers to share their experiences on different topics. And we will be doing that in terms of climate change and climate action as well. This is the general description of the modules and content that we'll be covering. So the program is divided in 3 modules. So each one of these modules will have these sessions here that I just presented. So the first module will be about the foundation. So we will be building up the foundational knowledge about science-based targets and greenhouse gas accounting as well. This will be available from May this year onwards. Then the second module is about the business case of science-based targets. Why is it important to set science-based targets? Why should my company be actually pursuing and trying to set to commit and set a science-based targets? We'll be talking about these and how to engage and build internal buy-in at the management and board level within your companies as well. This will be available from July onwards. And finally, the implementation module. So, okay, once we have set our targets, what is the journey forward? So, what are the next steps? How can I reduce my emissions? How can I manage my scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions in an adequate pace to limit global warming as well. This last module, the implementation module, will be available by September this year. Okay. These are just some numbers from last year. So last year we had more than 650 companies participating in the program. Around 27% of these companies were SMEs, small and medium enterprises. The initiative and the accelerator, the Science-Based Targets initiative and the accelerator is perfectly suitable for companies in this of this size. So small and medium enterprises are more than invited to also join us in this journey towards a net zero future. 71% of the participants were from companies from the let's say larger organizations, and we also had 2% of other organizations, for example some local NGOs, some educational institutions as well, that took part in the program as well. We had 55 countries represented and 30 local networks engaged during last year. And for this year, we already have 54 local networks already confirmed to run the program. So we are really expecting a big growth and a very nice a very nice reach for this year in the accelerator as well. From your perspective, from the participant perspective, what are the requirements and what is expected from you guys? Companies are asked to invite to nominate 2 representatives, 1 primary representative that should be attending all the facilitated sessions, all the peer-to-peer sessions, and 1 alternate representative that should be, for example, if the primary representative cannot join a session because of an agenda conflict, for example, then this alternate representative can step in and can replace this person. But just 1 of them is required to join and expected to join the live session. So just so you guys can understand kind of the workload, how it will be shared as well. Both the representatives will have access to the on-demand, the online sessions. So both of them can take the content, can go through the materials, and ideally, these representatives, they will be responsible for greenhouse gas emissions accounting, for management or reporting of greenhouse gas emissions as well. Again, the Science-Based Targets initiative is about reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So we really need to, it would be very important to have someone that is already familiar with the topic joining the sessions as well. Participants are required to complete the on-demand sessions and attend the live sessions, and they will be granted certificates upon the completion of the program. So once you guys have completed all the on-demand sessions, all the online sessions, then you guys will be able to have the certificate saying that you have concluded the Climate Ambition Accelerator. In terms of time commitments, we are talking about around 25 to 30 hours of commitment over the next 6 months. So it's around 9 hours of self-learning on-demand content and around 6 hours of facilitated group sessions that we will have. And of course, there are the preparation and the follow-ups before and after these sessions as well. So you guys should be expecting around 25 to 30 hours of preparation for this program this year. And finally, in terms of eligibility criteria, companies must be currently a UN Global Compact participant. So if you are willing, if you're in the process of joining the UN Global Compact with your local network, if you are considering that, if you're thinking about that, it's very important to speed up this process and make a decision as soon as possible so you can join the accelerator this year. Again, we will be starting the program this May, so we have a little bit more than 1 month ahead of us. Ideally, companies will be interested in setting science-based targets, in setting ambitious emission reduction targets aligned with the climate science and the Paris Agreement goals, and of course, willing to appoint 2 representatives to participate in the program. and also an executive level representative to follow up the program developments. This executive level, this C-level representative, this person does not need to be on the calls and to take all the on-demand session, but it's very important to have an executive level representative to follow up the next steps and the developments in terms of decision making for the program as well. Okay. Again, the main reminder here is to contact your local network representative and join us so we can walk together this journey towards science-based targets. Once you are registered to the program, once you are onboarded to the program, once you are ready to start your journey, your learning journey, you will be redirected to our Academy sign-in and landing page. So again, the accelerator runs on the Academy platform. So you will be able to sign in with your UN Global Compact account. So your credential, your usernames and password as well. And on the right hand side, we can see here what you'll be seeing as a landing page, as a home page for the program. So we will also always have this information about what is next and what you should be doing on that week. And on this landing page, you have access to your learning track, to all the sessions, all the materials, and everything that you will need to complete the program successfully as well. And what to know about the academy. So representatives will get access to the Climate Ambition Accelerator content on the platform, on the academy platform. You will be able to use your credentials, your username and password that is communicated by your local network. If you have already participated in the SDG Ambition Accelerator, for example, you may use the same username and the same password for this program as well. Again, company participants will land directly on the Climate Ambition Accelerator homepage, where they will then select your respective track. On the track page, you will be able to complete your on-demand courses, your online courses there, enroll and attend the peer-to-peer and the facilitated sessions as well, and also register for the global sessions that we will have throughout the year. Climate Ambition Accelerator participants will also have unlimited access to all learning content on the Academy, and also some Academy sessions on our learning platform as well. If you have any questions, any ideas, any follow-ups, any issues specifically regarding the Global Compact Academy platform, please feel free to use the email that we have here on the screen, academy@unglobalcompact.org, so you can clarify your questions specifically regarding the academy platform, the academy platform. Okay. Finally, the UN Global, just a brief overview here about our Academy platform. Now the platform is open to all participants of the UN Global Compact. So we would like to invite you to have a look and to see all the opportunities that we have for learning and for actually upscaling your technical knowledge and your sustainability knowledge as well. So we have a range of on-demand and live sessions, a range of e-learning courses, learning plans, some action challenges, micro-learning in different time zones and languages as well. The content is available in different time zones and in different languages as well. And here, just a very brief summary of the upcoming topics that we'll be producing and we'll be discussing over the next months on the Academy as well. It's important to highlight the greenhouse gas accounting course as well, that is already available. So if you want to have a look at how we will be talking about greenhouse gas accounting, greenhouse gas emissions, we would like to invite you for this open learning plan as well. And there are here some 5 new ways to learn. So we have the Changemaker series, in which we'll be inviting some speakers, some key speakers, to share some very insightful discussions and very insightful experiences on how to take important decisions on sustainability decision making, not only climate change, but in general sustainability decision making. Of course, we can have these foundations. So complete, you can get started with our foundation. So completing our e-learning plans, e-learning course about how companies can operationalize the UN guiding principles, so you can start your sustainability journey. Of course, learn how to set and implement ambitious goals towards towards the sustainability development goals through our deep dive on the SDG ambition approach. Of course, benefit from the insight into our experiences and solutions from our leaders and peers in our in practice in exchange session. And finally, get competitive by earning certificates, so personal certificates for for our action challenges as well. For example, the current challenge that we have is the one that we are inviting companies to complete the e-learning course on science-based targets. This is an e-learning course that is let's say a summarized version of what we'll be discussing at the Climate Ambition Accelerator by Earth Day 2022. So by 22nd April this year. This is the challenge, the current challenge that we have right now. So let's get competitive, let's get the certificates and show them on LinkedIn and show to our peers as well. As I mentioned, the greenhouse gas accounting e-learning course is already available. The first part is already available, where we cover the basics of greenhouse gas accounting. So scope 1, 2, and 3, and the scope 3 overview, so we can understand the concept. And the part 2 will be available later in 2022, so later this year, in which we'll be covering how to measure, manage, and reduce your scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. So again, these are summarized versions of the content that we will be covering at the Climate Ambition Accelerator. But this can be a very sneak peek for you guys, or a very good spoiler about what we'll be covering at the Climate Ambition Accelerator as well. With that all being said, hopefully I was clear enough on the topic, but I would like to open for some questions, comments, ideas. So I don't know, Imogen, if we have any questions is to open and left unanswered, I'm happy to try to answer them live here now. So thank you very much, guys, for your attention, and I hope it was clear for you guys.
Yes, so we have received quite a fair amount of questions. I think you can see the Q&A box, Lucas, where you can have a look at the questions, but I can go ahead and read one out if you'd like. So we have one here regarding the oil and gas announcement by the SBTI, sorry, and we'd like to ask if you could say a bit more about the recent news that we can't accept oil and gas necessarily companies into the program.
Yeah, exactly. The initiative has been doing these deep dives in different sectors. So oil and gas is just one of the sectors that we are doing the deep dives, so we can develop some sector specific guidance and sector specific materials and methodologies for these specific carbon intensive sectors. And after some rounds of discussions, after some very thorough investigation and research, the initiative, so the Science-Based Targets initiative, decided to stop these developments on the oil and gas, the fossil fuel sector, for the near future. So I can post on the chat later our policy and our position regarding fossil fuels, the recent position regarding fossil fuel. But right now the initiative is not accepting and not validating targets from this sector right now. So this is the Science-Based Targets initiative. In terms of the Climate Ambition Accelerator, oil and gas companies are still invited to join us and to learn more about climate action, about greenhouse gases, about the science-based targets, about the initiative, and so on. But again, the initiative itself is not validating, is not assessing targets from this sector from now on. This was not this decision was made based on the science, based on the climate existing science, and also based on the future looking pathways in terms of emission reductions. So this is very well found. This has a very strong foundation in this decision, but this decision was made by the initiative and not by the accelerator. So oil and gas companies are still invited and welcome to join us, but it's very important to have it clear that for this sector is not able to set and have validated science-based targets right now. Okay.
Another question would be whether non-UN global participants can join the program, and then what's the difference between the global track and joining through the local networks?
Yep. So non-participants of the UN Global Compact, unfortunately, are not able to join. So if you're willing to join, if you found the program interesting, we do invite you to reach out to your local network, to reach out to our corporate outreach and engagement team, so you can be part of our this group of companies. So you can take the Climate Ambition Accelerator as well. And the main difference between the global track and the in-country or the local tracks is that the global track will have a fixed time. So sessions will take place at 8 a.m. UK time, so GMT time. And these sessions will be available for companies in countries where the local network is not implementing the Climate Ambition Accelerator. So if your local network is running the accelerator, you are invited and expected to join the session, the accelerator at your local track. Being completely honest here, the local track, because of our local network's amazing work, will be there will be more opportunities for interaction, for follow-ups, and for discussions at the local level. At the global track, we will definitely do our best to deliver the program in the best way possible. But again, since we'll be working with companies from different countries from all over the world, it will be really hard to follow up and to have this close relationship that the local networks can have with their companies. So we do invite you and do encourage you to join at the local level if your local network is running the program. If your local network is not, then feel free to reach out and to join us at the global track as well. Okay. I just saw one question here about a company, a participant that has submitted, registered, and still hasn't heard about back from us. We would like to say that we are sorry. There is no automatic email for when you register for the program, so your local network should be contacting you soon regarding your application. So please bear with us for a few more days. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your local network representative to understand where in which stage you guys are at. But definitely for some IT reasons, we don't have an automatic email when when a participant register for the program. So we'd like to apologize for that, but feel free to reach out to us to confirm your status in terms of registration. Okay.
We have a question here regarding a company who may have already set a science-based target. Can they still join the program? And if so, can they just attend the implementation module?
Yep, definitely. Companies that already have science-based targets or that have already committed to science-based targets are also welcome to join the program for two main reasons. The first one is to share your experience with other peers and just to reassess the journey and see how things maybe how you can improve or even increase the ambition of your target. And the second, I believe the second reason would be to learn more about the initiative, so you can also engage with your value chain partners as well. Specifically, when we talk about scope 3 emissions, it is very important to know how to engage with our value chain, so we can reduce and manage our scope 3 emissions. And this program, the accelerator, it may provide you with some tools about how to engage, how to explain, how to go over the initiative, and yeah, more foundational knowledge about the initiative as well. So definitely invited and encouraged to join us as well.
We have some questions regarding local level participation and then the language of the program being run within the local networks, and what to do if the participant doesn't speak the local language.
Yeah, most of the facilitated sessions will be hosted in English because of our technical experts. So English will be, in the end of the day, will be the most common working language. It's really important to understand and to check with your local network representative what will be the working language of the program. So outside the facilitated sessions, how the program will be carried out. And in terms of translations of the on-demand content, we will have the content available in Portuguese, Spanish, German, French, and Arabic. So these 5 languages are, of course, other than English. We'll have, again, Portuguese, Spanish, German, French, and Arabic. We will have the content available in these 5 languages. So if you speak one of these languages, feel free to use this, but you can also use the English original content as well to go over the materials. But the best person to respond this question will be your local network representative. Okay. Another question here that I just, sorry, Imogen, that I just saw here is about multinational companies that have multiple subsidiaries in multiple countries. This is a very common question. This is a very common situation. We do encourage you to join at your headquarter country or at the headquarter level. Why is that? Because the science-based targets, the framework of the science-based targets aims to set targets at the corporate level, so at the headquarters level. So we can have some subsidiaries taking part of the program, of course, but the focus of the program is to have companies setting targets at the corporate level, so at the highest level of decision making. So if you are present in several countries, our advice is for you to join at the headquarter level. So in which country you have, in the country in which is your headquarters. Okay.
When is the sign up deadline?
Yep, registrations will be open until the end of April. So until the last week of April, we will be open. The program will launch on April 22nd, so on Earth Day. But please check with your local networks, because some local networks will be recruiting until the very last day of April, and some local networks will be finalizing, wrapping up registrations on the 22nd of April. So we have around 1 month left to register to the program. Differently from the Science-Based Targets initiative, there is no commitment or letter that you need to sign up to join the Climate Ambition Accelerator. So the registration process should not take long. And once you are a UNGC participant, it should not take long and should not require a lot of efforts from you guys. Okay.
Another question here in the chat is whether SMEs can join the program.
Yes, definitely SMEs can join the program. The program is designed in a way that we can welcome companies in different levels of, well, from different sizes, different sectors, and in different levels of maturity in the sustainability journey. So companies that are just starting to assess their greenhouse gas emissions inventory, or companies that already have a very solid understanding about their greenhouse gas emissions, both of them are invited and are welcome to join the program. And of course, small and medium enterprises are more than welcome to join us as well.
And then we have a couple of questions maybe that we could answer at the same time. One is from, I'm guessing, a previous participant, is whether the content will be any different from the first round, and can a company join again if they participated in the first round? And then secondly, are we limited to just 2 employees per company?
Yeah, for all these questions, the answer is yes. So yes, participants are able and welcome to join again. Of course, most of the content will be the same, but we will have some updates. The most critical updates will be about the net zero standard. As I mentioned, the net zero standard was launched last year, in November last year. So really around the end of our first round in 2021. So for this year, we will be working more focused on the net zero standard as well. This is also the main updates that we will have. And finally, yes, the limitation is just 2 representatives per company. So these 2 representatives will have access to the academy content and the materials there. So yes, this is a limitation that we have. Of course, we encourage companies to share, for example, the greenhouse gas e-learning course, or the SBTI e-learning course as well, across your organization, so other employees can also take these e-learning courses, these short courses. But for the accelerator, we have this limitation of the 2 representatives per company.
And then perhaps we could go back to the slide regarding the time commitments, as we have a couple of questions surrounding that.
Yeah, definitely. Let me just find it again. Yeah, the time commitment is 25 to 30 hours over the next 6 months. So 25 to 30 hours of commitment. And this is around 9 hours of self-learning on-demand content. So these individual sessions, the individual content that you'll be able to take at your own time, at your own rhythm, at your own pace. And 6 to 7 hours of facilitated group sessions. Of course, this 9 plus 6 is 15. This is not 25 or 30, but we always consider a few hours before and after each session in terms of preparation, of follow-ups and next steps within the organization as well. So in general, the time commitment would be around 30 hours for each participant.
Awesome. And if participants want to get into contact with their local networks, how can they go about doing this?
Yeah, the UN Global Compact webpage has the general contact, the contact pages. I can also share this link here on the chat, and then you can find your local network representative contact information there as well. So feel free to share, to use that, and to reach out to them to assess and to confirm that as well.
And we have a couple of questions related to the Academy platform here, asking whether you need to be a UN Global Compact member to access the Academy. And yes, so if your company is a Global Compact member, you have access to the Academy platform, unlimited access for all your employees, but the condition is that you're a UN Global Compact member. And then same thing for accessing the accelerator. Do you see any more questions, Lucas?
No, I am just pasting here first the SBTI position just on the chat. I just pasted there the SBTI position in terms of oil and gas, and I am finding the Google contact pages. But yeah, there is one question that I saw here. If you don't have a local network in your country, if your country doesn't, well, some countries they still don't have local networks, or some countries already have a local network, but the local network is not running the accelerator. Again, you are invited to join us at the global track of the Climate Ambition Accelerator. But it is very important to first have a look and have some conversations with your local network representative to confirm this information. Okay. The program in general doesn't have any cost. I just saw here Robert question on the chat. So it doesn't have a cost related to the program, but some local networks may charge a cost covering fee just because sometimes they need to hire an external consultant or something like that. So again, it's important to double check that information with your local network representative. But in general, there are no costs other than becoming a UN Global Compact participant. There are no costs involved in this program. And to respond the Justin question also on the chat, no, the program does not require, it's not mandatory for a company to commit or to set a science-based target by the end of the program. Our main goal here is to prepare you guys to do so. So if you are willing, if you are ready to do so, you will have all the content, all the knowledge, and all the tools that you need to move forward and to proceed in this science-based targets journey. But ultimately is not mandatory, is not something that is companies are not obliged to do that.
And then another question regarding the executive and main representatives. Can they be the same person? And does the secondary representative need to be executive level?
Yes, can be the same person. We had some situations where the participants on the calls, on the facilitated sessions were the executive level participants as well. Again, this is not mandatory. It doesn't need to be that way. But if you have a C-level representative that is willing to join these working level sessions as well, you are more than welcome to invite them to do so. And sorry, what was the second part of the question, Imogen?
Can the alternative representative be the executive member?
Yeah, we can have that. So that's
cool. We have a lot of questions regarding the cost to join the UN Global Compact as an SME or as a larger company. I think we're not best placed to answer these questions, but Lucas, who would be?
Yeah, again, I just pasted on the chat the UN Global Compact Engage Locally. In that link, you guys can find the different regions in which we are operating. And under each region, you will be able to find the countries. So you will find there the contact information of your local network. So the best person to respond that, the costs and the process, the general process of joining the UN Global Compact will be these local network representatives for each one of you guys. Okay.
Another question regarding industry-specific content. How much of that will we be providing in the accelerator program?
Yeah, since we will be working with a range of companies from different industries, we will not be able to customize any of the sessions to any specific sector or specific industry. But during the facilitated sessions with the technical expert there, feel free to bring your specific questions and your sector specific concerns and issues to the discussion. So this is possible to be covered there. But the program, the general track, will not be tailor made for any of any sector or any industry this year at least. Okay.
Perfect. And we have a question here about if a company has set an SBT target globally, but not at the local level, how is this managed by the accelerator?
This is also not a problem. Companies, for example, if your company has the corporate level science-based targets and the local subsidiary wants to set an additional target, it is possible, and companies are welcome to do that within the initiative. And then this accelerator can be the, let's say, the training that is required or that can be useful for the local chapter, for the local office of the organization to also pursue the science-based targets. So it is completely fine and more than welcome. Companies are more than welcome to do so as well. I just saw one question here about how SMEs are featured in the initiative as well. They are featured just like any other company. So there's no differentiation in terms of a list of SMEs and a list of larger organizations. The main difference will be their target. So it will be stated that they used the SME streamlined methodology. So there is a simplified methodology for SMEs, so they can set science-based targets, but they are featured in the same way as the others on the link that I just pasted, the sciencebasedtargets.org/companies taking action. So yeah, you are feel free to check that website as well. I just saw that I have been pasting the links in the wrong place, so Imogen is repasting them in the right place. So thank you, Imogen, for that.
There's another question regarding COP27 and whether companies who participate in the accelerator will be invited to COP.
Okay, no, the program is not. Of course, we are linked to COP27 because we are talking about climate action, but there is no direct connection between COP27 and the accelerator. At COP, we'll be definitely planning some sessions to showcase our some examples of corporate climate action and some of the highlights and achievements of the program, but we cannot guarantee right now that everyone that joins the program will be automatically invited to COP 2027. But yeah, it is linked, but not directly guarantees an invitation to COP.
Perfect. I think we've answered the bulk of the questions.
Yep. Just one last question here that I saw from Dominic. If the program is suitable for companies that have already implemented some measures to reduce carbon emissions, CO2 emissions, and what would be if the problem is the remaining potential emissions or the remaining emissions, what the program would contribute to these kind of companies. So in this case, it would be a company that is already very advanced in terms of climate action and the journey towards science-based targets. And again, the program is suited for these kind of organizations as well. Specifically, the last module, the implementation module, will have some very insightful discussions for you guys. In terms of, okay, what are the next steps for our company in terms of carbon emissions reductions? So how we can now start reducing also scope 3 emissions, how we can reduce even further our scope 1 and 2 emissions. So the program is suitable for these kind of organizations as well. And as I mentioned, for organizations in the beginning of the learning journey or at the end of the learning journey, we are there to help you guys to proceed and to advance towards climate action as well. All right. Well, I think we are almost on time. So I don't know. Thank you very much for all your insightful questions and great collaboration here with our session. I really hope to see you guys around. And if you have any questions, any ideas, any other issues, feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to your local network representative. And we will be seeing each other soon in the next sessions or so. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Imogen and the Academy team for hosting this great session as well.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.